a video tutorial for my sewing pattern, basic bandeau blouse, this top, which also has spaghetti straps. If you do not have my sewing pattern, please make sure to go get that. The link is in my description before proceeding with this video. The sewing pattern itself does not come with written instructions, for which I am making this video. This video is going to be a step-by-step tutorial on how to make this blouse. It is very easy and beginner friendly, so let's go with this blouse. Step number 1 is to print the sewing pattern that you got from my Etsy shop. It is 6 pages long, of which the first 2 contain information about this specific pattern. The supplies that you will need for this blouse are listed out in the first box right here, and an optional one would be loop turner for the spaghetti strap, or even a simple safety pin will suffice. That is usually what I use. The fabric that I use to make this blouse is called Banarsi fabric, aka brocade fabric, but I suggest using any medium weight fabric that has structure, and I've listed out some examples right here. And for this video, I'm going to be using cotton fabric, 2 different colors, one for the main fabric and another for lining fabric, so it is easy for you to differentiate between the fabrics. There are different lines in the pattern, so make sure to read this box carefully. I know the lines are a little small, you're gonna have to squint, but make sure you look at these lines properly to see which one is for your size. And I've also included a little body measurement table for you to be able to figure out which size is yours and then what line you should be cutting. Next thing you're going to do is lay out the rest of your 4 pages. This is 4 pages of pattern. You're going to lay it out in numerical order. The next thing you're going to do is cut around the perimeter of all these boxes so that the extra paper on the edges goes away. Once you've cut the patterns out, you're going to tape 1 and 2 and then 3 and 4 together, like I've done right here. Next, you're gonna look at the sewing pattern, measure yourself, and see which category you fall under. My size is extra small, so I'm going to follow the straight line all along on all of the pattern pieces, and that's where I will cut on the straight line. If your size is different, please cut on that line. Once you've cut the pattern pieces out to your size, you should have 3 pieces: the front, the back, and then the straps. You're gonna need 2 different kinds of fabric, one for the main fabric and second for the lining pieces. Technically speaking, you can use the same fabric as your main fabric and your lining fabric, but if you want to opt for a softer fabric for the lining, just so the garment feels comfortable on your body, totally up to you. So my main fabric will be black and my lining fabric will be maroon. These will be the 2 different colors that I will be using today. So we have 3 pattern pieces. You're going to cut 3 pattern pieces from the main fabric, 3 pattern pieces from the lining fabric. All these pattern pieces will be cut on fold. I repeat, all these pattern pieces will be cut on fold, which means the fabric pieces that you have, you're going to fold your fabric, and wherever on the pattern you see on fold, you will place that edge along the fold of the fabric like this, and then you will cut around the perimeter of this pattern, and you are going to do the same for the rest of the pattern pieces. Once you've cut out all your pattern pieces, this is how many you should have. You should have 2 front pieces, one of the lining and then one of the main fabric. And then you should have 2 pieces of back fabric pattern pieces, one of the lining and one of the main. And then for the straps, what you're gonna do is cut 1 extra pattern piece of this. So you're gonna need 2 straps of main fabric and then 2 straps of lining fabric. And then for your back pieces of the pattern, what you're gonna do is lay them out flat and then cut along direct center, like where it was folded. You're gonna cut right along that so that you can have 4 total pieces of back fabric. 4 pieces of back fabric. Basically, this is going to be my right side up. What we're going to do is put right sides together, and I'm going to stitch a line right here to close the dart, and then I'm going to flip this like this and make a stitch right here to close that dart as well. And I'm going to do the same on this side and then the lining fabric as well. When you are sewing your darts, make sure to sew as close to the edge as you possibly can, or else your pattern is going to get messed up. Now that we have all the darts closed up on the main fabric and the lining, what we're gonna do is take these 2 back pieces of each of the fabric and then sew them together. This is my right side and this is the right side of the fabric. Notice how you cannot see the stitch. The stitch is on the inside, on the wrong side of the fabric. I'm going to fold this over like this and line up the ends and sew right here, and then do the same for this back piece and then the same for the main fabric as well. Pretty simple, 4 little stitches right there. This is what the front of the blouse should look like for the lining and the main fabric. And now for the straps, it's pretty simple. What we're gonna do is take a lining strap and then put it over the main fabric strap, and then we're gonna make 2 stitches along the edges on this side, on the right side, and then 1 on the left side, like all the way down. And try to sew as close as possible to the edge, just so there's enough room for a safety pin for when we are gonna be turning the strap right side up. And then always make sure the right sides are touching each other. Once you've sewn the straps together, this is what they should look like. I wanted my strap to be a little thick, so I sewed really close to the edge. But if you want your strap to be skinnier, then you can sew a little closer to the middle. Now what we're gonna do is take a safety pin, and then we're gonna, this is still inside out, so we're gonna make it right side out for the straps. Take the safety pin, just puncture it like anywhere you want. I'm gonna do the edge, and then insert the safety pin into the little tunnel, strap tunnel, and then just push it through, and then pull this up so that the fabric is kind of turning on itself. Just keep going like that, and then it'll turn. And once it comes out, you can just pull it all the way through, and then take your safety pin out. And then this is what your strap should look like. This is the main fabric and the lining fabric. This is how thick it'll look on me. And do the same with your other strap. You need to have 4 pieces in front of you, the 2 straps, and then the lining and the main fabric. So what we're gonna do is take our main fabric, lay it down. We're going to take our strap. The main fabric and the main fabric should be touching each other like this, which is basically going to be at the apex of the bust. So just right here, like the highest point that you can see. Do the same with the other strap, the main fabric touching the main fabric at the apex right there. And then we are going to make a little stitch right here and right here, just to lock it down. Just like this, as you can see, little stitch marks right here and here. This is what it should look like now. And now we are going to put, like, simply turn the strap like this and then place it in the middle, like, of the back piece, like this. And make sure your strap is not twisted anywhere and it's straight throughout. Do the same for this as well. Just take your strap and place it in the middle of the back piece, and then you're also going to put a little stitch right here and then a little stitch right here to hold them in place. Now that we have added the straps to the main fabric, what we're going to do is take your lining fabric that was like this, and listen carefully, do not mess up this step. What you're gonna do is make sure it's facing, the right side is facing up. Take this and put the lining fabric over the main fabric, making sure that the right sides are touching each other like this, and then the wrong side should be facing towards you. So what we're gonna do now that we've placed them like this is make a stitch right here, and this can be a 1/2 inch seam because I've included the seam allowance in the pattern. And then once we do the top, we're also gonna stitch along the bottom right here, tucking the sleeves in, making sure that you do not sew over the straps. Yeah, so just basically just tuck them inside like this, and then stitch over there and over there, and then do the same for the other side as well. All on the top and then all on the bottom. Once the top and the bottom part are sewed and the straps are inside, we're gonna turn it right side out. So basically just stick your hand in there and pull out a piece of it. Kind of how we did with the straps, but without a safety pin. We're gonna use our hands as a safety pin and just pull it out. And once you get a hold of the strap, just pull and then it shall come out. And this is what it should look like, this being the lining. And this is the outside. Just do a stitch all around so like the fabric doesn't flip-flop like this. And then we're gonna do top stitch on the top part and the bottom where we just sew. Top stitch the straps as well, just so they look neat. Once you've top stitched everywhere, I suggest trying it on, and then we can go ahead with the closure, the hook and eye closure. To add the closures, what we're gonna do is just simply fold this over like this and just sew it down right here so that the edge looks clean, and then we shall add hook and eyes. So do the same thing on both the sides. Once you've made the edges neat by folding it over, I'm going to be adding hook and eye closures. Technically, you can use any closure that you want. You can add buttons, but what I'm gonna do is add these hook. It's called a hook and eye closure, but I don't have the eye part of it. I just have the hook. This is what it looks like. So I'm gonna add this on one side of the blouse, and then on the other side I'm gonna make little zigzag stitches, and then the hook can hook onto the stitches, just the thread itself. Here you have it, your bandeau blouse. So it looks like in the back. And then the other side looks the same, but I'll show you. Very snug, very fitted. You can always make the straps longer if you want. I hope this tutorial was easy and simple enough to follow. I tried to explain as much as I could and show as much as I could. And if you still have any questions or concerns, my email is in the description and also my Instagram handle. So please feel free to DM me or send me an email